Step 16. Eat whatever you want as long as it's homemade. I know I said that happiness is made in the gut in step 9, but it actually starts in the kitchen. Cooking is how you make happiness homemade. There's no better pleasure than eating homemade meals around the table with the people you love. It's a time that allows you to be present and focus on what's truly important, nourishing the mind, body, and soul while connecting with others. You don't remember the things you buy, but you do remember the meals you eat and who you eat them with. In the United States, bread has a bad reputation and grain-free is the new craze. Why is bread so bad now? Bread has been used as a staple in our diet for thousands of years and is still used in so many cultures around the world today. Why the sudden change in heart? Well, perhaps that's because our bread now isn't made like it once was. The bread that lives in the grocery store shelves is full of ingredients, additives, preservatives, dough conditioners to make it soft and fluffy, corn syrup to make it sweet, processed fats to make it shelf stable, and yeast to make it rise faster. But bread is perfectly healthy when it's made homemade. Ideally, bread should only contain 3 simple ingredients: whole grains, water, and salt. When you make bread the way nature intended and take time to let the dough sit, rise, and go through a natural fermentation process, it creates enzymes and bacteria needed for us to actually break down and absorb the bread. It also makes bread with higher mineral content. Have you ever wondered why people who have gluten sensitivities can eat all of the bread and pasta they want when they're in Europe and have no digestive problems? This is because the dough typically goes through a natural fermentation process and they use flours without harmful chemicals. Unfortunately, food regulation is much stricter in the European countries than it is in the United States. There is an amazing restaurant in Chicago called Publican, where they make homemade sourdough bread every day. I recently attended an event where the head chef from Publican said many people who can't handle gluten actually come into their shop to purchase their bread because it doesn't give them those unpleasant side effects they typically get from eating store-bought bread. Sprouted grains also give you this same effect. When the grains are soaked, they go through a sprouting process that makes them easier to digest and absorb. Sprouting gives grains a higher mineral content, and you can typically find sprouted grain breads in the refrigerator or freezer section of your grocery store. When it comes to homemade meals, there's some traditions that you should never give up. You should never have to give up your traditional dinner favorites like spaghetti, tacos, breaded chicken, fish and chips, pizza, and burgers. The key is to focus on improving the quality of all of your ingredients and finding ways to make these meals better. In our household, we cycle through a variety of popular dinners each week. I like to say I have a repertoire of 10 to 20 meals that I can make practically with my eyes closed, and usually make them on nights I don't have a lot of time to find a new recipe or plan ahead. Most of the time, I already have many of these ingredients on hand in the pantry or in the freezer. For spaghetti, I use organic pasta made with 1 ingredient. I simply look at the ingredient list and look for organic semolina flour. Or I use spaghetti squash, I use organic pasta sauce, and ground bison or grass-fed beef for the meat. For tacos, I usually make a big taco salad with romaine lettuce, and I add bell peppers, red onions, and I top it with taco-seasoned organic ground turkey, organic cheddar cheese, black beans, or homemade refried beans, and organic blue corn tortilla chips. For breaded chicken, I pound chicken breasts and bread them in egg wash and organic unbleached white whole wheat flour. For fish and chips, I use organic breadcrumbs with pure and simple ingredients, and I pair them with sliced and baked red skin potatoes. I make my own tartar sauce by using avocado oil mayonnaise and organic dill pickle relish. My favorite pizza is with homemade pizza crust, which is water, flour, and salt, or a crust made out of cauliflower topped with fresh mozzarella, tomato, and basil. For burgers, I love using ground lamb, venison, bison, turkey, or grass-fed beef, and portobello mushroom caps as the buns. For other breaded items, I love using millet flour, which tends to brown even nicer than regular flour. One of my favorite dishes is making a healthier, homemade ramen noodle soup by using a coconut milk broth and organic millet and brown rice noodles. You can find many more healthier food substitutions in the Target to Table cookbook. When it comes to food, some things are just too good to mess up. As I mentioned, I come from a huge Lebanese family. We have a ton of delicious Lebanese dishes that are not always the healthiest, but they sure are delicious. I've learned to make some of these dishes a little bit healthier by using better quality ingredients. But what I find is that it can sometimes take away from the authenticity of the experience. We typically eat a Lebanese feast of stuffed grape leaves, kibbeh, bitlawi, mishta bread, meat pies, hummus, and Syrian cheese once a year with my entire family. This experience is so special, and it's not something I'm very interested in changing because all of the meaning behind it, especially when we only eat it about once a year. Sometimes there's things in this life that aren't worth changing. One time a year of a Lebanese feast will not hurt my long-term health goals. In fact, it will provide me with so much meaning to my life. It's important to be mindful of what you choose to change and plan for these special moments where you can truly enjoy the experience to the fullest with the people that you love. One last tip for making meals homemade: to make life easier, I recommend you cook once and eat twice. Make a little extra dinner the night before to eat for lunch the next day or even for dinner. Nothing is better than homemade leftovers. You can't go wrong when you use fresh ingredients from the source and make meals with love. Whatever dishes you can't live without, find ways to make them healthier at home. Get in the kitchen, experiment with new foods and flavors, get a little messy, and make mistakes.